Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're jumping into a specific set of crypto news headlines and summaries, all from around June 4th, 2025. We've got CoinMarketCap summaries, some linked articles.
Yeah, and the plan is really just to sift through this specific information pile,
Yeah.
pull out the key stuff, the important takeaways, so you can quickly get a sense of what was moving in the crypto world based on these reports.
Exactly. It's like a snapshot, right? Using only what these headlines were saying around that date. And there's some interesting bits, like a big buyout rumor that, well, fizzled out,
Mm-hmm.
and some shifts in rankings if the company's putting crypto on their books, and even, a look ahead at a potential future problem.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get into this specific collection then, see what picture emerges.
Right. So first up, there was definitely buzz around a major potential deal that, well, it turned out to be nothing. The sources mention a $5 billion Circle buyout rumor.
Yes, and crucially, that Ripple flat out denied it. And what's interesting there is just how fast a rumor like that, especially with those names, Ripple and Circle and that kind of money,
Yeah.
$5 billion, how quickly it gets attention.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
these sources make it clear Ripple said, nope, not buying Circle. Pretty straightforward denial. The fact it was a headline at all, though, really shows you where the market's head is at, thinking about consolidation, maybe.
Okay, so market whispers, swift denial. Simple, but clearly newsworthy on that day. Now let's pivot a bit from company specifics to market mechanics. One of these articles talked about crypto fee rankings changing.
Yeah, this is some actual operational numbers. Based on these sources, PancakeSwap moved up to second place in weekly crypto fees.
Second place.
Second place. And what's interesting is that put it ahead of Circle in terms of the fees generated that week. Tether was apparently still number one, according to this report.
Huh. PancakeSwap generating more in weekly fees than Circle. That's pretty telling, isn't it, about where the action might be?
It does suggest something, yeah.
You've got Circle, huge with stablecoins, kind of foundational. Then PancakeSwap, a big BAX. It sort of implies that, the trading, the interaction on a DeFi platform like PancakeSwap was, at least for that week, bringing in more fee revenue than Circle's operations, according to the source, anyway.
It gives you a little window into the economic pulse, you could say, on different parts of the crypto map during that specific time frame.
Okay. Moving on then. From market activity to something maybe indicating broader adoption, corporate interest, this set of news includes a couple of items about companies actually putting crypto into their treasury.
Yes, specific examples here. One headline flags Adam Back, well-known figure, investing $2.1 million into a company called H100 Group.
Okay.
And the source describes H100 as a Swedish Bitcoin treasury firm. It also mentioned their share price jumped 37% after that news broke.
Right. So a known crypto person investing directly into a firm focused on holding Bitcoin corporately. And the market liked it. That seems like a clear signal. Wasn't there another bigger one reported too?
There was. Another piece of news covered here is DigiAsia Corp, described as a fintech company, announcing a pretty substantial $100 million Bitcoin and Ethereum treasury strategy.
Wow. $100 million.
Yeah. And their stated goal is just that. Increase the amount of BTC and ETH they hold on their balance sheet.
So you put those two together from around the same time. You've got real examples, different scales, but companies publicly saying, we're buying Bitcoin, we're buying Ethereum for our treasury. It does seem to back up that corporate adoption idea based just on these reports.
Definitely. And the market reaction, at least with H100, suggests investors are watching these kinds of moves.
Speaking of big moves and market impact, BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF, IBIT, that also got a mention in these headlines for how it was doing.
It did. The source used some pretty strong language, actually. It said BlackRock IBIT achieved phenomenal top 25 ETF ranking speed.
Phenomenal speed.
Yeah, and showed a stunning display of rapid asset accumulation.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a degree, but how fast, Compared to all ETFs out there, it shot up the ranks incredibly quickly in terms of gathering assets.
Breaking into the top 25 ETFs overall, just based on the speed of asset gathering.
Yeah.
Well, that suggests a huge amount of demand was flowing through that specific channel, right? That regulated ETF structure, putting up there with massive established traditional ETFs purely based on its growth pace.
It certainly points to a major way investors were getting Bitcoin exposure during that period, using a structure they're comfortable with.
Okay, let's shift gears again. From those big institutional products to news about a specific coin, there was a report about an altcoin listing, wasn't there?
Yes. One headline read, "Double good news for fresh altcoin from Binance." It was about Binance listing an altcoin called Resolv, ticker Resolv,
Okay, and double good news.
according to the source, yeah. Because it was listed on both Binance Alpha, which is their spot trading platform, and their futures market.
Ah, I
Yeah.
see. So for anyone tracking Resolve, the big news here was getting onto Binance, a major exchange for both spot trading, just buying and selling, and for futures, allowing leverage trading. That dual listing is usually a pretty big deal for a smaller coin.
Definitely broadens access, lets people trade it in different ways.
Right. And finally, wrapping up the headlines here, this collection also pointed towards a maybe longer-term challenge for the whole crypto space.
Indeed, there was a piece asking, essentially, is crypto ready for quantum threats? And as of early June 2025, the report stated that financial analysts were showing serious concern.
Serious concern.
Yeah, and the general take seemed to be that the industry is far from ready for the threat from quantum computing. It even named an analyst, Rick Maida, as someone voicing this concern specifically.
Okay, so the worry being flagged by analysts here, based on the source, is that future quantum computers might be powerful enough to break the encryption that, well, secures current blockchains.
Exactly.
And the view is the industry just hasn't prepared enough for that possibility yet.
It's definitely a forward-looking risk, but clearly one that's on the radar for some analysts thinking about the fundamental long-term security of everything.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap this specific batch of headlines from around June 4th, 2025. We had that Ripple Circle acquisition rumor denied,
Yep.
the fee rankings shifting with PancakeSwap moving up,
Mm-hmm.
those concrete examples of corporate treasury moves by H100 Group and DeJasia Corp,
Right, adding BTC and ETH,
the really fast growth of BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, IBIT,
the asset accumulation speed, yeah.
that listing for the altcoin Resolv on Binance, both spot and futures,
Mm-hmm.
and then this underlying concern bubbling up from analysts about quantum computing readiness.
It's quite a mix when you lay it out like that, isn't it? You've got specific company news, market structure shifts, signs of institutional interest, individual coin developments, and then this big sort of existential future tech risk.
It really does give you a snapshot with lots of different facets based just on what these particular sources highlighted around that time.
Makes you think about all the different things pulling the market's attention.
Absolutely. Which kind of leads us to our final thought for you, the listener. Drawing only on this specific collection of news we just went through from around June 4th, 2025. Given these different pieces, the denial of a huge rumor, the fee ranking changes showing platform activity, actual companies putting crypto on their balance sheets, an ETF growing incredibly fast, an altcoin getting a key listing, and analysts worried about quantum threats, what does the specific mix of headlines suggest to you about what the biggest drivers of change and attention were in the crypto space right then? Based only on this information we've discussed. Something to mull over.